one of our other great members did some videos, and we're basically right on the verge of hopefully getting some licensing. I'll be doing some Shark Tank pitches to some companies that may have an interest in getting this technology licensed, and I'm looking forward to that very much. So hopefully by, say, late summer, I would guess, this product will actually be out there ready for people to get.
Nice. That's great. And I remember that you actually had a scheduled event to go to Chicago to do like a mini Shark Tank, and that kind of got postponed because the outbreak pandemic that we have with COVID-19. Have they mentioned anything of when they're going to reschedule this event, or if there's any way to, get any this technology in front of people, like any way to submit it?
Well, actually, yeah, that was the Inspired Home Show. It's the second largest trade show in the country. It's basically a housewares show, kind of like the Consumer Electronics Show out in LA, but for more house type items. And although it was canceled, probably won't come back till next year. And I was in the Inventor's Corner with a booth. Through LinkedIn and through some contacts, there's about 50 companies that are called direct response TV. Think infomercials, social media advertising, basically direct to consumer sales. We're going to be submitting in the next week or two. It's called a pitch deck explaining both inventions to these companies. We'll be doing our little Shark Tank type pitches. It's not Shark Tank itself. And then it'll go from there. We've already identified manufacturers that can produce the items. And that's how the process works. So although it didn't work out directly, it is going to work out very well indirectly, and we'll be using Zoom or Skype or one of the other platforms rather than a face-to-face, given our current COVID-19 limitations.
Yes, which then brings us to the next question that you've invented, basically. It's called the Universal Blender Tamper. So tell us a little bit more about that, and how and why did you come up with the idea to come up with this? But then also, just as I asked with the last invention, how long did it take you from beginning to end to come up with this?
Well, that also was a family inspired invention. Actually, started a little before. My wife was on a smoothie kick. We all eat healthy, and she had to be at work at 7. So starting around a little after 6 o'clock in the morning, the blender would start and go and not stop. So I wanted to come up a way to speed up the making of those smoothies so I could sleep a little longer. Went to Home Depot, got some PVC pipe and played around with it and came up with a basic design. But what I found out or discovered there was that this is for a blender with a single blade at the bottom, and there's like 27 million of these things sold in the country every year. And anybody that's used a blender knows how it forms that little air pocket because of the spinning blade. And so people grab their little wooden spoons or some other utensils, start shoving it down through the lid, take off that little measuring cup cap, and hits the blade, and it's not a very pretty sight. So we came up with a adjustable length so it can work with virtually any blender ever made. It can work with a little short, squat Oster type blender or Hamilton Beach or Farberware, whatever it is. And so that, and we've added some fins and some little feet to scrape the sides, and it seems to be working very, very well. We have a number of people actually putting it in testing right now, and that will cut the time. We've seen it cut it in half, the time to make those smoothies. So that was what that one's about, and it really encourages healthy eating. It's not just smoothies, it's any blender recipe, especially with any kind of frozen ice or fruit. And that's where that utility comes in. So we think there's nothing like that on the market, and we think that's a great little consumer product.
Nice. And I know you said it cut down the time, so now you can actually get some sleep, I'm assuming?
Well, it as we said in my family, it couldn't wait. No, it speeds it up. Maybe not half. It depends, but it's got a nice handle on it. It's just a very cute little design that definitely cuts the time. Depending on the recipe and how quickly, I guess, you push down the product.
Okay, well, and I know you just said that you had beta testers. So how many people do you actually send this product to beta test as a rough estimate?
Well, it's all 3D printed, so it takes a while. It's not injection molded yet. The molds are expensive. We have, I would say, 8 or 9 out right now, being tested. In fact, I'm meeting tomorrow with a good friend of mine who's a chef, and he's going to give it a good workout. He also happens to be a musician, and his wife's an artist, so they're going to also try out the hands-free support system. He wears several hats, but we have a number of both professional and just everyday people going to try it. And we're going to try to get some hopefully positive feedback.
That's awesome. So, Steve, how does one get more information about these 2 items?
The easiest way is, although it's still under construction, we have a nice little website. It's, of course, www.adaptivecreationsgroup.com. adaptivecreationsgroup.com. There's videos of both products on the website, and also my personal contact information, both email and telephone. And email simple, it's swhite@adaptivecreationsgroup.com. Phone number is 941-870-4722, and I'm happy to chat with anybody that would like more information.
That's great. Now, as a inventor yourself, what do most inventors need help with? An example, like maybe capital or fundraising. Like, what do inventors need help with most?
Capital is for any business, but inventors as well. They also need just explanation of the process. How do you protect your concept? How do you get a prototype built? How do you basically get out there and either get it manufactured yourself or find a licensee to do the manufacturing? And every product's different, but they follow a similar pattern.
Okay. Well, at least that's good to know on that. There was one other question I had to ask you, Steve. It was basically about like the whole R&D prime expertise of it. But I know you had also just given your contact information. I know because we're at the 2-minute marker and we're kind of wrapping up the show. But is there any type of inspirational quote or information that you want to share with like anyone that wants to start to be an inventor, or maybe they're trying to start up their own business as an entrepreneur?
Well, I always use the expression, it all begins with a plan. And my consulting firm that I had, that was our little tagline. Although the new tagline is creative ideas for better living, but a plan. That is the best way to go, and really think it through, and then try to call in some people with experience to essentially give some honest, constructive feedback on your vision and the utility of your idea.
That's awesome. I love it. I really do. And I know we had talked about a couple of ideas for shows later on down the road. I would love to see what we can do to bring you back as a guest. And like I said, we mentioned earlier on the writing a business plan and whatnot. And obviously, I don't want to go too much more into business plans because I don't want everyone to fall asleep. But maybe we can go through like more of a skeletal feature of it. But other than that, I just want to thank you again for being on the show, Steve, sharing this insight of information, giving the inspiration to not only the elderly but disabled, but then also just the normal people that just have their hands full and they're able to use this hands-free device, or even if they just want to make their smoothies and make it really fast. So other than that, I want to thank you so much. And if you have anything else, please share it right now.
Well, Joe, it's been my distinct pleasure. Always enjoy our time together, both in the networking group and here. And podcast is awesome. And thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, you're very welcome. And I hope to see you as soon as possible, because I have your project in the works right now, and I'll have to check and see the status is.
Well, thanks. That's great.
All right. Well, you have a great day, Steve.
You too. Thanks. Stay safe.
You too.